Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to deep dive into boosting your self-confidence.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, something I know a lot of us are interested in.
Right. Who doesn't want a little boost?
Totally. And we're looking at this source, Self-Confidence Transformation.
Okay, I've heard of that one.
Yeah, and it has a really cool approach using outward actions.
Outward, so like doing stuff.
Yeah, like to create interchange,
Oh, interesting. So like a mind-body connection kind of thing.
Exactly. Building confidence from the outside in, which sounds super practical, right?
Yeah, I like that. Like sometimes we wait to feel confident before we act confident.
Right, but this flips it on its head.
Makes you think.
Totally. So let's jump in. The first tip is all about body language.
Body language. Yeah, that's huge.
So important. You can just tell when someone's confident, right? Just by how they hold themselves.
Oh, absolutely. Shoulders back, head up, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like our body language is speaking volumes.
Way more than words sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah. It's like, imagine you're at a job interview.
Okay, yeah. Classic example.
Right. And you've got the perfect resume. You're saying all the right things.
You're like slouching in your chair.
Yeah, avoiding eye contact, all nervous.
The interviewer's not going to be convinced.
Definitely not. So how do we project confidence?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. What does the source say?
Okay, so they suggest leaning back and spreading out a bit.
Leaning back. Isn't that kind of like casual?
Yeah, but in a good way. It makes you seem more relaxed, like you're comfortable.
Ah, okay. So it's about taking up space.
Right, like you belong there.
Yeah.
The source also mentions leaning against things, like a wall or a table.
Leaning against things.
Yeah, apparently it can convey this sense of ownership.
Interesting. I never thought about it like that.
Right, like this is my space, I'm comfortable here.
Yeah. Like a subtle power move.
Exactly. And it can translate into confidence.
I can see that, yeah. I mean, think about animals, right? Like a dog marking its territory.
Okay, maybe not quite that far.
Okay, fair enough. But you know what I mean.
Definitely. It's about sending those subtle signals.
Totally. Signals of confidence, comfort, all that.
Right. So even small shifts in posture.
Can make a huge difference.
Huge. Okay, next up is smiling.
Smiling, I mean, that seems pretty basic.
It does, but it's more powerful than you think. Have you heard that smiling can actually make you happier?
I have, but I never really understood why.
So it's called the facial feedback phenomenon.
Facial feedback. Okay, break that down for me.
Basically, when you smile, even if you're not actually feeling happy,
Interesting.
it triggers these chemicals in your brain, like serotonin.
Serotonin, the happy chemical, right?
And those chemicals are linked to positive emotions.
So it's like tricking your brain into feeling good.
Exactly. Like a fake it till you make it thing.
Gotta try that. Especially on Mondays.
Right. So even a forced smile can actually lift your mood.
That's wild. Okay, what's next? What else does this source talk about?
Now, this one is interesting. They mention power positions.
Power positions. Okay, I'm intrigued. What are those?
So they're these specific postures that can actually boost your testosterone levels.
Testosterone, isn't that like a male hormone?
It is, but it's also linked to confidence and assertiveness in both men and women.
Oh, interesting. So what kind of postures are we talking about here?
Well, the classic example is the victory pose.
Victory pose, like arms up in a V shape.
Exactly. Like athletes do after winning a race.
Makes sense. You see that all the time in sports.
And you know what's even cooler? I read that even apes do a similar pose after winning a fight.
Apes? Really? That's crazy.
I know. It's like there's this deep biological wiring going on.
Yeah, like it's programmed into us to strike a power pose when we feel strong and dominant.
Totally. And the source suggests practicing these power poses before anything where you need a confidence boost.
Ooh, that's a good tip. Like before a presentation or a big meeting.
Right. Imagine doing the victory pose in the bathroom before a job interview.
Okay, that might be a bit much.
Yeah, maybe choose a more subtle power pose.
Right?
Got to be strategic about it.
Exactly. Okay, now, another point they made that I thought was really interesting was about breathing.
Breathing. How can breathing affect confidence?
So you know how when you get anxious, you tend to take these short, shallow breaths?
Oh, yeah, totally. My chest gets all tight, and it's like I can't get a full breath.
Right. So that's your fight or flight response kicking in.
Fight or flight, like our body's ancient stress response.
Yeah, exactly. It's like your body's preparing you to either fight off a threat or run away from it.
Makes sense, but how does breathing come into play?
So when that fight or flight response is activated, your breathing gets all rapid and shallow.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
But the cool thing is you can actually hack this system.
Hack it. Like control our breathing to calm down.
Yes. The source suggests practicing slow, deep breathing.
Deep breaths, like in through the nose, out through the mouth.
Yeah, exactly. and holding each breath for a couple of seconds.
Okay, that makes sense. I've heard that deep breathing can be really relaxing. Right, and it's because it activates your parasympathetic nervous system.
Parasympathetic. Remind me what that is again.
It's the rest and digest system.
Rest and digest. So the opposite of fight or flight.
Exactly. It's responsible for calming your body down, promoting relaxation.
Oh, I see. It's like hitting the reset button on your anxiety.
Exactly. So when you feel that panic rising,
just take a few deep breaths
and shift yourself out of fight or flight mode.
Wow. That's so simple yet powerful.
It is. It's amazing how much control we have over our nervous system just by changing our breathing.
Okay, I'm definitely going to be trying that one. Deep breaths. Here I come.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay, so the source then shifts gears a bit and talks about how we walk.
How we walk? What does that have to do with confidence?
Have you ever noticed how someone who walks tall with good posture just seems more confident?
Oh, yeah, totally. It's like they command attention without even trying.
Exactly. It's like they own the room.
So, does the source have any tips for improving our walking style? I'm pretty sure I slouch sometimes.
They do. They suggest this visualization technique. Imagine a beam of light shining from your chest, lifting you up.
A beam of light. Interesting.
Right. It's like you're being pulled upwards.
Head held high, beaming that light.
Exactly. It's hard not to feel confident when you walk like that.
And it's not just about appearances, right?
Right. It's about embodying that sense of purpose.
That inner strength.
Yeah. And this leads perfectly into their next point, first impressions.
First impressions, yeah, those are crucial.
So crucial. So they emphasize combining everything we've talked about so far.
Okay, so like walking tall, smiling, all that.
Yeah. And they add offering a firm handshake.
The classic handshake. It's a make or break moment sometimes.
It really is.
Yeah.
So it's like a package deal, you know?
A confident package deal. I like it.
Right. Now, speaking of first impressions, they also talk about eye contact.
Eye contact. Ooh, that one can be tricky.
It can be. I sometimes struggle with it. It can feel awkward.
Me too. Like how long is too long?
Right. It's such a powerful form of communication, though.
Right. Oh, absolutely. It conveys confidence, honesty.
Engagement, yeah. So they advise finding a balance.
A balance. Okay, so like not staring someone down.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
But also not avoiding eye contact completely.
Right. So how do you strike that balance? What does the source say?
So they suggest holding eye contact for a few seconds, then looking away briefly while you're gesturing, and then re-engaging.
Oh, that's a good tip. Breaking it down like that makes it seem less daunting.
Right. It's like finding that natural rhythm.
Okay, so we've got body language, smiling, power poses, breathing, walking tall, first impressions, eye contact. What else is on our list of confidence boosters? This is fascinating.
Well, this next one might surprise you. They suggest speaking more slowly.
Speaking slowly? Really? I always thought the fast talkers were seen as more confident.
Yeah, it can seem that way, like they're quick-witted and energetic.
Right. But why would speaking slowly be linked to confidence? I'm curious to hear what they have to say.
So they argue that when we rush our words, it can actually signal nervousness.
Nervousness? Like we're trying to get it over with quickly.
Yeah, or like we lack confidence in what we're saying.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never thought about it like that.
But by slowing down,
we give ourselves time to think.
Right, to articulate our thoughts more clearly.
And project a sense of composure.
Exactly. It's like you're more in control.
Wow, that's a great point. It's like each word carries more weight when you take your time.
I love that. And you know what? I think this ties into their next tip, which is about storytelling.
Storytelling. How does that relate to confidence? I'm all ears.
So they argue that being a good storyteller is a sign of confidence.
Confidence in what sense?
Well, it shows you're comfortable holding the attention of others.
Oh, I see. Like you're not afraid to be the center of attention.
Yeah, and good storytellers, they don't rush their delivery.
Right, they take their time, they build suspense.
Exactly. They know how to use pacing, how to draw the listener in.
It's like they own the moment.
Totally. And that takes confidence. Confidence in your ability to captivate an audience.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's not just about what you say, it's how you say it.
Exactly. And how you make people feel.
Wow, we've covered a lot already. Body language, smiling, power poses, breathing, walking tall, first impressions, eye contact, speaking slowly, storytelling. Are you ready for a couple more? I'm dying to hear what else they have to say.
Okay, hit me with them.
All right, get ready for this one because it might surprise you. They suggest talking with your hands can make you seem more charismatic and confident.
Wait, really? Talking with my hands. I always try to avoid that. I feel like it makes me look awkward.
I know, right? It seems counterintuitive, but think about it. When you see someone who's really passionate about something, Don't they tend to use their hands a lot?
Yeah, actually, you're right. They're like painting pictures in the air with their words.
Exactly. It's called gesticulation, and it can make you seem more engaged and enthusiastic.
Maybe I've been doing myself a disservice by keeping my hands glued to my sides.
Maybe so. The source does say to avoid forcing it, though.
Okay, that makes sense. Like, I don't want to look like I'm conducting an orchestra or something.
Right, It's about finding that sweet spot where your gestures feel natural and expressive.
So it's not about flailing your arms around wildly, but using them to emphasize your points.
Exactly. Like imagine you're telling a story and you use your hands to show how big something was or to mimic an action.
Yeah. It's like you're bringing the story to life.
Precisely. And that can make you a more captivating speaker, which in turn can boost your confidence.
Wow, I never thought about it that way. Okay, what's the last tip? I'm ready for the grand finale.
Okay, this one might seem obvious, but it's often overlooked: being passionate.
Passionate. I mean, that makes sense, but how does it tie into confidence?
Well, think about it. When you're truly passionate about something, don't you just naturally radiate confidence?
Yeah, it's like you can't help but light up when you're talking about something you love.
Exactly. The source argues that genuine passion is the key to unlocking natural confidence.
I like that. It's not about faking it till you make it.
Right. It's about aligning yourself with things that genuinely excite you.
So it's more about self-discovery than anything else.
In a way, yes. It's about figuring out what makes you tick, what makes you come alive.
And then letting that passion fuel your confidence.
Exactly. Because when you're genuinely passionate about something, you don't have to try so hard to be confident. It just flows naturally.
Wow, that's really powerful. So we've covered a lot of ground here. Body language, smiling, power poses, breathing, walking tall, first impressions, eye contact, speaking slowly, storytelling, using our hands, and being passionate.
That's quite a list. But don't feel overwhelmed. Remember, it's about picking and choosing what works for you.
Right. We're not suggesting you try to implement all of these at once.
Exactly. Experiment and see what resonates with you.
Find your own personal confidence cocktail, so to speak.
I love that analogy. Now, let's shift gears a bit and think about the bigger picture. What do you think is the most important takeaway from all of this?
For me, it's the reminder that confidence isn't some fixed trait that you're either born with or not. It's a skill that can be developed and cultivated with practice.
I couldn't agree more. It's not about who you are, it's about what you do.
It's about making conscious choices and taking action.
And that's empowering, because it means that anyone, regardless of their background or current level of confidence, can learn to become more self-assured.
So inspiring.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure some people listening might be thinking, this all sounds great, but where do I even start?
That's a great question, and I think the answer is start small. Don't try to change everything overnight.
Right. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Exactly. Choose one or two of these tips that really resonate with you and focus on incorporating them into your daily life.
Maybe that's practicing power poses before a big meeting or making a conscious effort to slow down your speech.
Exactly. Little things, but they can have a big impact over time.
It's about building momentum, creating positive habits.
And remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
There will be ups and downs, setbacks and breakthroughs.
But the key is to keep practicing, keep experimenting, and keep learning.
And to be kind to yourself along the way.
Absolutely. Celebrate your wins, big and small, and learn from your mistakes.
And don't be afraid to ask for support.
Yes. Talk to friends, family, mentors, therapists, whoever you feel comfortable opening up to.
Having a support system can make a huge difference.
It's like having cheerleaders on the sidelines rooting you on every step of the way.
So, as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what's one final thought you want to leave our listeners with?
This might sound cheesy, but remember to have fun. Building confidence shouldn't feel like a chore.
Right, it should be an adventure.
Exactly. Embrace the process, celebrate your progress, and enjoy the ride.
I love that. It's so important to enjoy the journey, right? Because if you're not having fun, what's the point?
Exactly. Confidence shouldn't feel like a burden. It should feel like a superpower.
Like you're unlocking your full potential. And speaking of potential, I think what really struck me during this deep dive is how confidence can be contagious.
Oh, totally. Have you ever noticed that when you're around someone who's really confident, you just can't help but feel a little more confident yourself?
It's like their energy rubs off on you.
It's like they're giving you permission to be confident, too.
I love that. And that's why I think your challenge from earlier is so brilliant. You know, that whole idea of observing people we admire for their confidence and trying to pinpoint what it is about them that makes them stand out.
Yes, the reverse engineering confidence challenge.
Exactly. It's like we can learn so much from watching others and figuring out what makes them tick,
It's like taking notes from the masters, and then it's about adapting those behaviors to fit our own personalities and our own goals, right?
It's like creating our own personalized confidence toolkit.
Exactly. Drawing inspiration from the best of the best and then making it our own.
And the cool thing is, as we start incorporating these new behaviors and we start seeing positive results, it creates this upward spiral,
Oh, absolutely. Success breeds confidence, and confidence breeds more success. It's like this amazing feedback loop.
It's a beautiful thing. So as we wrap up our deep dive into self-confidence transformation, what's one final nugget of wisdom you'd like to leave our listeners with?
I think the most important thing to remember is that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to confidence, right?
Right. What works for one person might not work for another.
Exactly. Some people might thrive on public speaking, while others find their confidence in quieter, more introspective activities.
It's all about finding what resonates with your authentic self.
Exactly. And that might take some experimentation.
It's a journey of self-discovery.
Precisely. So don't be afraid to try new things. Step outside of your comfort zone and see what sparks joy.
Because at the end of the day, confidence is about feeling good in your own skin.
And letting your true self shine through.
So well said. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. It's been an absolute pleasure exploring the fascinating world of self-confidence with you.
The pleasure was all mine. I always love our deep dives. They're so insightful and thought-provoking.
And to all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us. We hope you found this deep dive helpful and inspiring.
Remember, confidence is a journey, not a destination.
So keep exploring, keep experimenting, and keep shining your bright, confident light. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.